pregame show presented by New York Life. The usual suspects with Ross Gold on Wood, Elise Woodward, Ashley Adamson, but we got an upgrade. The commissioner of the Pac-12, George Kliavkoff. So great to have you. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Ashley. Nice to be here with you guys.
And you have not missed a minute of the action. You've had a great seat, and I don't think I've seen you out of it for the last 2 days. So first things first, just your first impressions of being on this side of the tournament.
Well, I've been to the tournament many times because I used to work at MGM Resorts here in Vegas, ran this building, and I just love being on this side. And I love watching the student athletes. And I'll tell you, games 9 and 10 coming up, and there's no place I'd rather be.
For you, the Stanford Cardinal are defending national champs. Arizona played for the national championship a year ago. Pac-12 women's basketball has been great for so long. From afar, and now that you're inside it, what has impressed you the most about the Pac-12 conference on the women's side?
Well, just the consistency, right? Each of the last 6 years, we've had better non-conference winning percentages. We've had better tournament winning percentages and more Final Four teams over that 6-year period than anyone else. And I'm just really proud of the consistency.
One of the big storylines all around the country has been the big anniversary for Title IX. How do you reflect on it and then look forward to the future for the opportunity, specifically here within the conference, to grow the women's basketball product?
Well, for me, the Pac-12 has always been at the forefront of all equality issues and gender equality among them. And I want to kind of extend that leadership position. And for me, the anniversary gives us an opportunity to reflect on the 50 years and all the great successes that we collectively have had in bringing women into college athletics and giving them opportunities. But it's also an opportunity to reflect on all the work that we have yet to do. And I look forward, and I think this is a great time to take a moment, enjoy the successes, and then start digging in on the hard work that we have to do. And with respect to women's basketball, I think it's one of the most undervalued product in all of athletics, not just college athletics. And I just love a lot of the stuff that the NCAA is doing on gender equality to elevate that product.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. We appreciate you saying that. I think as you look forward and try and figure out, there's a lot of problems that you're being asked to fix as the commissioner of the Pac-12, but women's basketball obviously in a good place. What do you think are 1 or 2 things that you think that we can specifically do as a conference to help continue to elevate women's sports?
Yeah, well, I think focusing on making sure that we elevate the exposure that women's sports gets, right? We have to do a much better job of telling the stories of the student athletes, and we have to get people focused on how great the game is and how great it is in person, but also how great it is on television. And it's one of these things where until you experience it, you don't realize what you're missing. And then once you go to a women's basketball game, you want to go to more.
Yeah, what a time for college sports. You talk about telling these stories, storytelling, branding, marketing, all of that's becoming more and more of the reality for these college students. How do you see the landscape developing now for name, image, likeness, and NIL for these college students?
Yeah, so I was always in favor of NIL for college athletes. I never understood why someone who was on a music scholarship could take advantage of their talents and make money without losing their scholarship, but someone that was on an athletic scholarship couldn't do that. That never made any sense to me. I think we need some guardrails around name, image, and likeness, and unfortunately now we have a patchwork of kind of state laws that don't provide those guardrails. But for me, the guardrails would be 3 very specific things. Number 1, we should not be using name, image, and likeness for inducement. People shouldn't be paying a student to go to a particular school. We should not be using it for purposes of pay for play. I don't think that's appropriate. And then the work done has to be commensurate with the amount paid, right? Because if you're paying a kid $1 million to show up for a 1-hour grocery store opening, you're not really paying for their name, image, and likeness. You're probably doing one of the first 2 things.
George, it's been awesome to have you. I think we could ask you like 1,800 more questions, but you've got a lot of hard things that you do in your job, but this is one of the perks in being able to take in some great action. So enjoy the games tonight with your wife, and we'll see you next week for the men's.
Absolutely.
Back on set.
I want to also say I just appreciate everything that you guys do for women's basketball and for the Pac-12. So thank you.
Thank you, George. We appreciate that very much. All right.